Thanks for tuning in to a Friday edition of the Our Lads Football Network in conjunction with Playbook ATS podcast over on Proline TV. I'm your host, Greg DePalma, and joining us is the legend himself, Mr. Jim Feist from Las Vegas. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing good. Lots of football to talk about in June, believe it or not. It keeps us busy, so I'm happy about that. And
well, before we rush into what we're going to do today, the U.S. Open's going on, soccer's going on. Greg, I've really never followed soccer, but have we ever had this many World Cup matches in the United States?
Yeah, we had a world. Well, let's see. I'm trying to remember. We had the World Cup, the Women's World Cup. I know that was pretty big. And we had one a while ago, but it was a while ago.
But they're all over the place in the United States. I mean, we got.
What do you mean? Well, oh, yeah.
Different cities.
Yeah, that's how they do it. And they also do it in Mexico and Canada. So it's basically, yeah, it's not just a country. But anyway, that's going on right now. So I'm sure our viewers who are watching live might be recording the match, and like myself. So we'll definitely watch later on. And hopefully they'll give us something to entertain ourselves with during the summer. Otherwise, of course, we're fickle soccer fans. So as soon as they lose, we'll be all out. Oh, okay. What's next? What's on What's on Channel 5? But anyway, you guys, wasn't me introduced Andy Isco also to the scene, and you guys, even though you were off this week, I'm assuming in the next week or two, when you go back to the Jim Feist handicapping show on Tuesdays on Proline TV, you're probably going to start turning your attention to baseball.
I think it'll actually be on Wednesdays, but that's the end of August. So, hi, Andy.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Hope all is well.
What's our soccer score?
No, he's just saying that. You don't give out no soccer scores while it's recorded.
Okay.
But yes, it is what it is. We're in the meat of the summer now. Is it summer yet?
By the way, does that apply to U.S. Open scores as well?
Yes. Is it summer yet? Not that most people know that it's pretty, where it is.
Another few days. I think it's
pretty
like
boring right now. So.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, something like that is the start of summer.
Next week?
We had some fun with the NBA championship, that's for sure.
Yes, and that's something that you guys can talk more about next Tuesday, 1:00 Eastern time on the Jim Feist handicapping show. So check them out. And they'll talk about the hockey finals.
I was just going to mention one thing very quickly as a long-suffering New York Knicks fan who remembers the 1970 and 1973 championships over half a century ago, 53 years to be exact, since 1973. Well, there's a sibling rivalry between the New York Knicks and the New York Rangers. They are co-tenants of Madison Square Garden, both owned by James Dolan. And of course, New Yorkers remember that the New York Rangers went 54 years from 1940 through 1994 until they won their next Stanley Cup. The Knicks were having a little fun. And then when they learned about that in 94, the Knicks said, "Don't you worry, we're not going to wait 54 years to win our next championship." And by golly, they didn't. They only waited 53. Congratulations.
Very nice. The long-suffering New York fans. And it's definitely still the case also for the New York Jets. It's been since 1968, 1969, whichever way you want to call it. Yeah. And the New York Giants, though, even though things have not gone well for them lately, at least they have several Super Bowl championships over the last several decades.
They have 4 Super Bowl championships since the last time the Jets appeared in the Super Bowl.
There you go. Giant fans can't really complain about anything, but we will be talking about the NFC East.
Wait a minute. You don't know New Yorkers. We complain about everything.
No, so they don't have anything to complain about, is what I said, yeah.
But they still they'll find
they
something
will
to
complain.
About, yeah.
Well, actually, all sports fans complain.
Yeah.
I mean, Eagles fans complain the very next year if they're winning a Super Bowl. I mean,
they complain if they have to punt it away on 4th down. They boo.
Yeah. I mean, they're the worst fans. I'm sorry, Eagle fans, but you are. I mean, because trust me, when the Jets win a Super Bowl, I don't care what you say. I won't be complaining about anything for years about what they do. All right, so let's talk the AFC South. This is, I believe, this is our fourth. Is this our fourth or our third? I think our fourth. Yes, it's our fourth edition of previewing every division in the NFL here on a Friday. So you can check out the other 3 division previews that we did. Also available on the Our Football channel, or if you're a ProLine viewer, you can check that out on ProLine TV. And we have the Houston Texans, the Colts, the Jags, and the Titans. I have actually already interviewed 3 of the 4 team analysts who are associated here with Our Lads. Matter of fact, I just interviewed Cole Thompson on Monday about the Texans, so you can check that out. Jacksonville and Tennessee did that a few weeks ago. So that'll get you real in deep with those teams. But we're going to start at the top alphabetically with the Houston Texans. And let me go ahead and pop up their depth chart from Our Lads. And this is supposedly the team beat based on Vegas, and maybe they should be. They have been the constant in this division for several years now. They are plus 110 in the South, 18-1 in the Super Bowl. And the win-loss lines are a little bit, we'll go into that in just a second. Here's the AFC South lines. I'm a little bit surprised that Tennessee is only 8-1, but we'll get into that in a little bit. That shows you that they have definitely had a much better offseason this go around. But let's go ahead and take a look at the win totals for the Houston Texans because I thought they were a little bit low myself when I did my show earlier in the week. You can take a look at either these 2 right here, 9.5 minus 125 or 10.5 plus 136.
Yeah, 9.5 seems to be the more widespread one, or the one that is closest to the teams being competitive with one another with the short spread. So I would say let's use the regular one as the 9.5, and then if we want to go a little bit more aggressively, we can use the 10.5 if you like the over, or the 8.5 if you like the under.
How does their schedule look outside of their division?
Well, early on, as you can see here with the schedule, the first 4 games are definitely going to be tough. They've got to start out, even though 3 of the 4 are at home. That's the good part. But they'll be taking on Buffalo, Cincinnati, Dallas at home, and they'll be at Indianapolis. Looks like Daniel Jones is going to be ready to go week 1. So that could be a tough one as well. And then they also
although Texas, the Texans have had success against Buffalo in recent years, surprisingly.
They have. So that and the Bengals have gotten off to slow starts.
Yeah.
So they could be able to take advantage of that. And then taking a look at the rest of the schedule, you could see here, I think it opens up pretty nicely. You know, they get to play the Browns. They get several other teams. They get Titans twice again, Washington. So, yeah, it's an okay schedule. I don't think it's overly tough. I just think those first 4 games, if they can get off to a good start, that'll put them in a real good position.
Green Bay is their NFC unique.
8.5 and 10.5 are both low for me.
Yeah. The Green Bay is their unique NFC opponent. You know, they play the NFC. All 4 teams play the NFC East, and they each play one team, I believe, from the NFC North, and that's Green Bay for the Houston Texans.
At Green Bay.
Yes, in week 17.
Well, they get 3 of them.
They're playing Philadelphia also.
Well, they play Philadelphia, Washington, Dallas, and the Giants. All the teams in the division play those 4.
Well, the three outliers are Buffalo, which is week 1.
Right.
You mentioned Green Bay. That's
right.
week 17. And then let's see, which one's the third one?
Philadelphia.
Cleveland. No, Cleveland is they have to play.
It has to be the Chargers, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So Chargers at LA Chargers, Green Bay, and Buffalo. Those are the 3. And that's, those are 3 tough outliers.
Yeah.
And they get
the weakest
road.
of the 3. The weakest of the 3, I think, might be Green Bay, because they play they play the number 2 schedule in the division, because Jacksonville won the division last year. They get the number 1, so they actually play the number 2 teams. And probably of the number 2 teams, I would say the Chargers and the Bills, I believe, are the 2 stronger ones, as opposed to Green Bay, as far as the non-common opponents that Houston plays versus the rest of the division.
Well, let's take a look at that depth chart to see what Houston did this offseason. See, this is the thing. I look at what Houston, we all know how good their defense was last year. And we know that really it was a couple of things on offense. One, we all know this is the easy one, that's CJ Stroud. But the other thing to consider is that Nico Collins was injured and did not play in the Patriot game. Dalton Schultz, their number 2 receiver at the time, as far as targets and so forth, got injured in the first quarter of the New England game. Throw in the fact that the offensive line was still not very good. It was slightly better, but 2024's version was pathetic. So it looked a lot better, but in reality, they got destroyed by the Patriots defense in that game on the line. Of course, Tank Dell was still not back.
But by the way, just to interrupt for one moment, that game came the week after they dominated the Steelers in Pittsburgh. So
yeah, and
there's
CJ
a lot
Stroud
to be said that
play
they're
well.
stronger. Don't take much away from the New England game. Take something more away from the Pittsburgh game.
And so, yeah, so otherwise, what did they do to get better? Well, they made a few different moves on the offensive line, which is good. They used up their first-round pick, one of their early picks on Rutledge. So hopefully he'll be starting at center either week 1 or sometime after week 1. And then they added Wyatt Teller and Braden Smith through free agency, which was definitely an upgrade. Ursary was really the only draft pick that Caserio has made on the offensive line that has worked out. And he had a really strong rookie season. So he should get better at left tackle. And Ingram had a really good year. They gave him a nice contract. He deserved it. So really, it's these 3 add-ons on the offensive line, Smith, Rutledge, and Teller, that will make them deeper and better. It's still not going to get them anywhere near better than like an average at best offensive line, but that's all they need. If they can just be an average offensive line, they could do a lot. And then throw in the fact that this is maybe the biggest move was acquiring David Montgomery in a trade, because Woody Marks ended up starting for them last year when Nick Chubb was thrown in there because of Joe Mixon's injury. Keep that in mind. Joe Mixon was supposed to start. He got injured, couldn't play. They went out and signed Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was just not good. Woody Marks, by the end of the season, was thrown in there to start games. And even though he was okay, that's not why they drafted him. They drafted him to be a backup, a third down guy. And he is now going to be in that spot this season behind David Montgomery.
Now, let me ask you the key question. We got a defensive head coach. Do we have any changes on offense other than adding some players on the offensive line and adding the running back Montgomery? Because CJ Stroud came out of college and nobody really knew what they were going to get, and he had a remarkable first year. But since then, he's only been average at best. And we look at this division and we say, okay, this is supposedly the best team. We know they have probably the best defense in the entire AFC NFL. But when it comes to their offense, they're kind of shaky, and CJ Stroud is mediocre. Even in their own division, Lawrence came out of college and he was going to be the end-all best player ever. And Stroud came out of college and wasn't supposed to be that good. He had that one good year, but he hasn't been. And then that last game against the Patriots was absolutely astoundingly bad.
Well, again, I gave you look, I'm not going to stick up for CJ Stroud with how poorly he played. But like I said, when you don't have a good offensive line, when you have no running game, you don't have a starting running back, you lose your number 1 wide receiver, and you lose your number 2 receiver. I mean, look, they should have lost the game like 13-3, but because he tried to do too much and he made stupid plays, that's what really made it a blowout and why it looked a lot worse than it was. So, yeah, he's got to learn. Now, look, keep in mind, this is the other thing. They really would like to start playing more physical football and start running the ball more. That's the reason they got Montgomery. That's the reason they understood they had to get more reinforcements along the offensive line. And they don't want CJ Stroud throwing the ball more than 25 times a game now. So if they can limit that and it works out in there and the way it's supposed to, then we'll see. He's going to get one more chance to prove whether or not he's going to get that next contract.
Well, let me I don't misunderstand what I'm trying to say is I thought last year Houston was the team that could win the Super Bowl. I thought their defense was remarkable, and if their offense could do anything resembling quality, they could have stepped up and stopped a lot of teams and won a very low-scoring Super Bowl. I was very disappointed with Stroud. It cost me money, cost a lot of my cohorts money. How that game played out, and then of course the team that went on to go to the Super Bowl should never have been there in the first place. But so that's what I'm getting down to, because when you analyze this division, we have one quarterback that came out of college into a very bad situation with the Jaguars, coach after coach after coach, offensive coordinator after. It was just a mess. But Lawrence has a much higher ceiling than Stroud does.
He does.
And Stroud has not lived up to what he did his first year.
No.
Now, and I was in the playoff game, I was very critical of DeMeco Ryans, who's a defensive head coach, for not putting Mills in, where Stroud has totally lost his mind in that game and had a mental breakdown. Mills couldn't have been any worse. So I was very critical of that. I think Houston is the best team from the defensive side. The offensive side is clearly going to be the Jaguars. Now, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself here.
I might even put Indianapolis with a healthy Daniel Jones ahead of Houston offensively.
The question there.
We don't know about Montgomery's contribution, which should be a positive.
Yes, I can't argue with that with Taylor and Jones.
Yeah.
But when you're coming off an Achilles, that's always a questionable injury how you're going to last. But yeah, I agree with you.
Defense. Go ahead, Andy.
No, I was going to say, because it sort of ties in. This is a division, and I know we'll talk to Jacksonville. We're going to come with Indy next, but because to me, it's Houston and Jacksonville. I happen to like Jacksonville a little better than Houston because the defense on Jacksonville was actually much better. They led the NFL, I believe, certainly the AFC, but I think it was the NFL in rushing defense last year. They allowed 85 yards, just under 86 yards per game, which is first in the NFL and first in the AFC. And their passing defense was just about average, a little below average, 21 and 18 and what was it, 10th, I think. Overall, I just liked a lot of the things I saw out of the Jacksonville defense, so that I think the way that I analyze it is I give Jacksonville a huge edge on offense, which Houston could be better, but we still don't have the quarterback situation with CJ and his new weapons. But I also give Houston not as great an edge over the Houston's defense. I don't give them as great an edge over the Jacksonville's defense as I give Jacksonville's offense over the Houston offense.
Defense. I'm actually with you on that. And I don't want to give this information out to people and have them go out and make bets thinking that, we're saying, okay, Houston should have gone further last year because of Stroud, because he could fail again. There's no guarantee he can't get out of his own head and play good football. And they may end up with Mills playing. And Mills, when he played last year, Mills was doing pretty good, but Lawrence has a much bigger upside on the offensive side. And if you're right that the defense is for Jacksonville is improved that much to be close to Houston, you're right. Jacksonville would be the better side to.
I'll answer it this way. I like both Houston and Jacksonville to make the playoffs, and I like them both to go over their win totals. Because I have that much respect for the Houston defense that I expect them to be able to win the 10 wins they need to go over the 9.5. That's how much respect I have for that Houston defense.
And Andy, most people I talk to say that Houston's defense is the best in the league.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
then-
they're going to be even better this year because they added Caden McDonald in the second round, who was considered, our lads rated him the #1 defensive tackle prospect in the entire draft.
Wow.
And the best defense in the league just got him. So that's going to make their defense even better. Everybody from last year's defense is back for Houston. And then they added McDonald. They also added a couple more players like Ramsey in the draft and Blankenship, the Eagles safety, to help them back there as well. So, yeah, they're going to be just as good, if not better. Everybody's back. It's all up to that offense and the new offense that they're going to try to work, running the football, playing physical, and limiting C.J. Stroud and that passing game. And we'll see if they can go ahead and accomplish that. They'll have the whole season to do it. And again, just taking a look at the overs, as we said in the very beginning, these look a little bit low to me, though. 9.5 and 10.5. I think I would just go with both of them, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely would go over 9.5 for Houston.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not sure about the 10.5, but the rest of the schedule makes a big difference.
Okay, now let's go to
Well,
the
Greg,
Colts.
let me ask you this. In your opinion, is C.J. Stroud the biggest question mark that Houston has?
No, to me, it's the offensive line. The offensive line is still has to be, like I said, have to just show that they can go out there and compete against the top defenses they're going to be playing. And if they can do that, then I think Stroud will be okay. I'm not as worried about Stroud. Like if I see Montgomery's out there.
That's what I was going to ask you, Greg. How much does your opinion change perhaps about the offensive line with the addition of a legitimate running back and running back one in Montgomery?
Yeah. Again, we know Montgomery can do it. We just don't know if this offensive line can do it because we know Braden Smith is a serviceable tackle. So if he's healthy, ready to go, they should be there. The two questions are Wyatt Teller, because Teller's game slipped as soon as Bill Callahan left the Browns. His game slipped, and so I'm a little bit concerned about that. And then they just drafted a rookie, and we don't know. He's a rookie, and we don't know how good he's going to be. So they are, there's still some questions along the offensive line, whereas I think if everybody's healthy, and they've got, because they, I still look at that wide receiver room, and I think it's still actually worth, I think it's a lot better than people think. I mean, Nico Collins is a true #1 top 6-7 wide receiver in the entire league. That's how good he is. And Jaden Higgins was a second-round draft pick. Noel was a third-round draft pick last year. Higgins looked really good as a rookie, and they may get Tank Dell back at some point this year, and he had a really good start to his career before his injury. So and then they, of course, also did something that all the teams seem to be doing now, and that's adding a third tight end to the scheme, because everybody now in the NFL is going to be running 12 and 13 personnel packages, and so you have to have 3 tight ends, and now they've got a little bit more depth there.
You're right. That is definitely the trend. Since the Rams did it last year so much, now they're all trending in that direction.
Well, keep in mind, Stroud wasn't terrible last year. Passed for over 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 8 INTs. I would say that's probably right around average as far as those numbers
And remember,
go.
he had, again, he had no running game, really, to speak of. He didn't have the type of running game he's going to have now this year. So that's why I'm willing to give him another benefit of the doubt, even though we all know if he has a really good regular season, it's not going to mean anything. We're all going to wait and see what happens come postseason. But he has had good games in the postseason. They've won playoff games.
Had that blowout that first year when they hosted Cleveland, which was a division winner.
And didn't they blow out the Chargers too?
I believe it was. I remember them won, but I think I remember about the Chargers was that big lead against Jacksonville that they blew, which I think was the same year.
Yeah, I know the defense had a lot to do with that, picking off Herbert, 4 times or something like that?
Yes.
But still. Okay, so let's take a look at the Colts now. And this is the mystery team in the division because of how good of a start they got off to. And then as soon as Daniel Jones went out, I mean, wow. I mean, I remember us looking at the odds right at the time that Jones got hurt, and they were they were like I don't remember what the odds were. I don't know if you do, Andy, but I remember Houston and Jacksonville's odds to win the division were like 4-1, 5-1, or something.
I don't know if Jacksonville's was that high at that point.
Well, they won about 9 games in a row to end the season.
Yeah, so we're talking about mid-season when Jones went out.
Mm-hmm.
So Jacksonville was probably an improved, but not the team that we saw them to be over the second half of the season.
Yeah,
so their odds might have been, their odds might still at that point have been very, very close, if not slightly better than those of Indianapolis, because of the uncertainty about Jacksonville, which had been a fairly weak team for a few years before that. And Indianapolis,
bottom line,
or something?
If Jones is healthy, and then they can reach back to where they were at the start of last year, we're going to have a 3-team race in this. This division's going to be really tough to call.
Yep. And that's why offensively, it's really hard to tell.
Did you do the win total that you're showing on them right now? Which probably would change, although the status appears to be that Daniel Jones will be ready for week 1.
Yeah. So the win total.
From what I understand, he's ready. Yeah.
That's what we're hearing. So you can either go with these two. You've got
what's
over
the one right? What's
the
6.5? What's the 6.5 one?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why. Yeah. So it's 7.5, 8.5.
Yes.
And 7.5 seems to be, you got the minus 140 on one side and the minus 150 on the other, plus 115 on one side and plus 125 on the other. So I guess it's almost a toss up between those two. So I think we could probably go with either one, 7.5 or 8.5.
This is Jacksonville here?
Indianapolis.
Indy.
This in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a team that I'm going to stay clear away from regarding odds, because I can't take them either way. I have no idea how they're going to go with I can't trust Daniel Jones to stay healthy.
Yeah. And we don't know what Indianapolis would have done last year had Jones not got injured. Would they have been able to keep up anything close to the pace they had for the first half of the season, when many people thought they were the surprise team of the AFC?
Well, their offensive line was strong. Their running game was strong. I mean, everything was looking really good.
No Pittman this year.
No, true. Wow. The backup quarterback issue. Is Richardson still number 2?
He's probably going to get traded. That's really what I've been hearing, is that, look, he doesn't want to be there. He's made it clear. And they really look at I'm
looking at one source that says Riley Leonard right now is listed as the backup.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
didn't he take over for Daniels last year?
Yeah, but if Richardson is, if everybody's healthy, Richardson is there and he wants to be there, he's the backup. It's just he's not going to be there. He's going to get traded, and Leonard will be the backup. Yeah. So he was a rookie that came in from Notre Dame, played well that year that Notre Dame was in the playoffs. But he's not, he's not a, one of these pocket passers with elite arm talent. He's just a really good backup quarterback style. He's not going to be a starter in this league. He's just got some good tools to be a really
I'm
good
interested in what you're saying about Richardson being traded. From what he's shown in the National Football League so far, who would want him?
The problem with Richardson is that the Colts fell into the trap that I don't know. I still can't believe these teams do, which is they looked at the talent regarding his size, arm strength, and his limited college experience, and said, oh, well, as soon as he gains some experience and we develop him, then he has all these tools we can work with. The problem is he didn't have a lot of college experience, and those guys rarely make it in the NFL. And so he just was not ready. You look at his tape in college and you were like, this guy shouldn't be coming out. And because you saw it in the NFL, It was like, this guy is not ready, but they drafted him anyway. And that's what's going to happen. At least one or two general managers, there's going to be some head coaches that are going to go the same thing. I can work with him. It's only been around for, really, if you look at it, he'd still be, I think, a senior in college.
Yeah.
There is no question of what talent he has if somebody could develop it. This
Well,
sounds like it sounds like what San Francisco did with
it's
that first
nonsense,
draft choice a
but
couple
people
of
were
years
saying the same
ago.
thing. People were saying the same thing about Trevor Lawrence. Maybe it just took the right kind of coaching.
Well, he had tremendous ability in college and had plenty of experience.
Yeah.
But he got caught up in that coaching fiasco. Who was the guy San Francisco moved so far up in the draft a couple of years ago to get, and he had no experience and they never could develop him.
Trey Lance.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yes.
FCS quarterback, didn't even play in the FBS. And so it just drives you crazy why these teams do this, make these kind of moves. But look, I don't think anybody's going to trade for Richardson to start him. I think they're going to trade for Richardson to develop him.
Yeah,
so
back up with potential.
Yeah, unless he goes to a team like the Arizona Cardinals and they say, all right, go ahead and start. So we'll see.
That might have been one of the things, by the way, because I know, Greg, I think both you and Jim were critical of the Rams taking Ty Simpson in the first round. Maybe they would, instead of taking Simpson as a first rounder, if they can't get him later, maybe later they make an offer to Indianapolis for a guy like Richardson, who has talent and is still young and might be able to develop under a McVay system.
Well, there's the difference right there, though, is McVay. Is that Richardson did not get drafted by McVay, so Simpson automatically just gets a leg up by the coaching he's going to get. And McVay looked at him, looked at his tools, and said, yeah, I could definitely work with this guy. It wasn't like, oh, he fell on my lap. It was like, hey, let's get this kid now. I can definitely work with him. I know he only has 1 year of experience in college, but he's not going to start. We're not, because that's what happened too. Richardson got thrown in there to start right away, which was another buffoon move. The kid needed time on the bench.
That's why I didn't mind the pick of Simpson, because it was for exactly that reason.
Yes.
They were looking at Simpson, learn behind Stafford, and then there's a smooth transition when Stafford is gone to a quarterback who's had 2 to 3 years to develop, and the Rams system continues to run. That's if McVay is still there, because I would think if he wins the Super Bowl this year, he'll probably go into broadcasting. But nonetheless, I understand the reason, and I thought it makes sense, because how many teams fall off the face of the earth when a star quarter? Look at the Patriots after Tom Brady left. They had a number of down years.
Well, with the Rams are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So if something happens to Stafford, they need somebody to stand in there and do some good work for them as a backup. And is Simpson their only backup? Not that we're talking about the Rams here today, but I mean, is Simpson really going to be ready to lead that team?
Well, Gunnar Stockton not Gunnar Stockton. Who's the kid that came from Georgia a couple of years ago?
Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett. He's the backup.
Okay.
So whether or not Simpson can beat him out in training camp, we're going to find out. I'm sure they'd like for him to beat him out, but we'll see about that. Okay, so the one thing, if you look at Indianapolis, the changes they made is very interesting, because you can see here on offense, only one change, and that was they traded away Michael Pittman, who was, at one time, not too long ago, their number one receiver.
Yes.
Traded him to Pittsburgh, and they replaced him with, just an average player. They drafted Burks in round 7, who our lads graded as a round 4 draft pick. So and they gave Alec Pierce a huge contract.
Yeah.
Which I just think was crazy.
Oh, yes, I remember. Yeah.
So I don't know whether or not they have a go-to. I don't think they do. They have that number 1 guy at receiver, but let's keep in mind, this is a run-oriented team with Jonathan Taylor, who's still one of the best running backs in the game.
Keep in mind that Pierce, 47 receptions last year, averaged 21.3 per reception.
Yeah,
that's a huge number.
He's one of the best downfield threats in the league. Now, the question is, without Pittman, will opposing defenses take that away? Tyler Warren is definitely a big part of this offense, though. He was their first-round draft pick last year, one of the best tight end prospects to come around, just like Brock Bowers. So he is expected to have a huge second season. So he's definitely going to make up for the fact that they don't really have like a true number 1 wide receiver. But I think the offense can be fine. I think they're going to be dangerous, just like they looked when Daniel Jones was healthy. The question is the defense. This is the question. And they made a lot of different moves on defense. As you can see, all the different colors here on defense. That's all new players. They used up 2 of their early round picks on middle linebacker spot, so that's good. CJ Allen will be an upgrade as a rookie. The 3rd round pick for Halsey is an upgrade. It's a really good player. They also, the last year's 3rd round pick, Justin Wally, injured all year, so they get him back. They also get Shavarius Ward back. Don't forget he dealt with the concussions last year and didn't play. They also get Sauce Gardner from the beginning of the season. So this defense, and remember too, DeForest Buckner is still a very good defensive tackle. They're hoping Latu can break out. This is going to be his 3rd season as an edge rusher. So there's definitely on paper, it looks like they should be better on defense. We just have to see if they can stay healthy.
These are big name players that you're just mentioning. They're all big name guys. They've been around.
Buckner and Gardner for sure, and even Shavarius Ward. Yeah. But they got to stay healthy. That's the Ward is that he's really close. It's one of those concussion injuries where he's like one more away from retiring. So that's a tricky one. But if he could stay healthy and Sauce Gardner, and then Wally plays this year and Halsey, all of a sudden that secondary is a lot better than it was last year. And the defense will be a lot better for it. So, yeah. So, again, though, a lot of questions.
For these 3 teams that we just talked about here,
2
Houston,
teams.
Jacksonville.
We'll get to Jacksonville next.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they've all improved in many different ways.
Well, we'll get to Jacksonville.
Houston on the offense, because their defense is so solid, and we haven't gotten to Tennessee at all yet. But when it comes down to who's going to win this division, who's going to go second, who's going to get into the playoffs, this is becoming very difficult because those 3 teams on the top.
I still think there's a gap between Jacksonville, Houston, and Indianapolis, although I clearly think Indianapolis is better than an improving Tennessee team. So I think that because of the issues that Greg pointed out correctly about the Indianapolis defense, and still the uncertainty of how Daniel Jones is going to return from the injury and how effective can he be. When you take a look at what the offense, at least what the overall scoring performance is once he was lost last year, Jones. I mean, they barely scored 15, 18 points a game over the last 7 or 8 games of the season compared to the 30 points or more that they scored several times when Daniel Jones was healthy. And remember, that was with Pittman, and now we don't know if his replacement is going to be as effective. So that's why I think Indianapolis, I don't know what the number is, but if I were going to play will or won't make the playoffs, I'd play the won't on the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, and to me, it's one of those things where I probably do that as well, but I wouldn't bet on it. Because I'm not going to bet on Daniel, because Daniel Jones stays healthy. I think they're going to make the playoffs. So I can't do it.
Do you think both Houston and Jacksonville will make the playoffs, or
I think they could all make it?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying they all will.
Ask that question: is it possible all 3 can make it?
They could.
They could.
I don't think so, which is why that if it's a plus price on the 7. No, I would play Indianapolis. Yeah.
There's only 7 AFC teams will make the playoffs. So could this division provide 3 of them?
It is theoretically possible for one division to send 4 teams to the playoffs.
Well, we just talked about it last week.
Yeah, and the 3 wild cards, and then the 3 other division winners.
But these teams are not the 3 from the NFC West. That's for sure.
You're right.
But still, I think a lot depends too, because remember, the reason why all 3 probably had a good chance to make it last year was what happened to Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. I don't see that happening again. Yeah. So it is going to be hard for the 3 teams.
Keep in mind with the AFC West, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers all had double-digit wins. In fact, they each had 12 wins. San Francisco had 12, Rams had 12, and Seattle had 14. Now that includes games against each other. So the thing that was impressive and allowed that is that the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers beat up on all their non-division foes to only have 3, 5, and 5 losses. They didn't lose that often to non-division teams, and they both beat the Cardinals twice. So those are it. But even so,
well, Indianapolis is the 3 outliers on their schedule. They're going to be playing Minnesota on the road, the Kansas City Chiefs on the road, and the Miami Dolphins at home. So they definitely have a much better, easier 3 than Houston.
Sorry, who did you say the on the road that they're playing of those
Minnesota
3?
and Kansas City.
Okay, the Colts somewhat benefited because they're playing a number 3 schedule as opposed to a number 2 or a number 1. Of those, I think they should beat Miami. Winning at Minnesota, difficult, and winning at Kansas City, depending upon. I happen to be optimistic on the Chiefs this year. I know a number of people are negative on them, thinking they'll be better, but they may not be as good as they were 2 years ago. That I could see Indianapolis splitting I think the game for Indianapolis' success may come down to what they do against Tennessee.
The interesting thing here, when you look at the over, last year we all said the NFC was better than the AFC, and it was just a weak conference overall. Well, it turned out that way with Seattle winning, but and this year Seattle and the Rams are right there on top again. But it sounds from like we're talking about now, it sounds like the AFC has gotten a little stronger, and we're starting to talk about them favorably. When we hear how we're analyzing these teams, when you look at the AFC West and you look at the AFC East, and you talk about Cincinnati maybe bouncing back, and these 3 teams in the South, it's starting to sound like we're thinking higher, putting them higher, grading them higher than we did a year ago.
Well, now it's time to talk about Jacksonville and see what kind of team what kind of offseason they had in general. This is really what can determine what their outlook is this year. And
what's their season win total on Jacksonville? Are they also 9.5?
They're 8.5 and 9.5. No respect.
8.5 seems to be the very competitive
completely
number.
Disrespectful.
Yeah.
Why is that? I mean, they won this division. They got Liam Cohen there.
I think that, what I'm noticing so far is that Vegas, at least this early in the season, they tend to penalize a lot of these teams for their first place schedules. And that's what's going on, I think. They got the first place schedule.
Well, the thing with the first place schedule is interesting because you had 3 division winners in the AFC last year who did not win their division the previous year. You had Denver, which supplanted Kansas City. You had Jacksonville. Of course, they can't play themselves. You had who was it? Pittsburgh, which supplanted Baltimore as a division winner, and you had New England, which supplanted Buffalo. So you basically had long-time teams that had won divisions that did not win last year. So as a result, I would be interested to see what the odds would be if Jacksonville had to play, a Buffalo, a Kansas, a healthy Buffalo team, a Kansas City team that we're accustomed to, and let's say a Ravens team, as opposed to playing the Steelers, the Patriots, and the Broncos. That's what surprises me about Jacksonville's number being so low, because the thing that really I like about Jacksonville, the progress that they made under a first-year head coach on both sides of the football, and now he's back. He's had an offseason to evaluate everything, make some adjustments. So that's a team that had a great deal of success that wasn't expected to, much like the Patriots, although the Patriots were expected since their win total last year was 8.5 after a pair of 4-win seasons. I like Liam Cohen coming over and what he did, and that's why I'm bullish on the Jaguars this year.
Plus Cohen, when he had Baker Mayfield, he did remarkable with him as well. So, I mean, he's proven that he has the ability to and Lawrence has a lot of talent. If you put him in the right direction with the right tools, he might be the best quarterback in this division. I mean, it's from what you saw last year. Now, there's a question here. One of our followers, DBK 8461, asked the question, why are we down on CJ Stroud? Well, that might be more me.
Well, that was before we talked. That was a while ago.
He fell apart in the playoff game.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's asking that question.
No, he asked it at 4:05. That was 40 minutes ago.
Yeah. Okay. Right when we started. Yeah.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Look at this. This is the thing, Jim, that I think is important, is that look at all the blue players on the depth chart, on the starters. Look at them all. Nothing is new. Yeah. Nothing is from free agency or the draft. They're all players that either started for them last year or guys that were the backup and now become the starters.
Yeah.
And there's only a couple of spots where that's actually the case. On offense, they are without their number one running back, who is now with the Saints, Travis Etienne. And then, but Tootin was a draft pick last year. And so
highly thought of.
Yeah. So they're expecting him to be fine. They got a nice little depth backfield here. So I don't think that's going to be a big deal. And I think the biggest loss was right here at weak side, where they lost Devin Lloyd, who had a monster season at linebacker, and he was signed by Carolina. And so Von Miller moved into the lineup, and they did not, as you can see, they did not sign anybody or draft anybody thinking that they needed to give him competition. So they must feel confident that he's going to be able to take over that role just fine. And so you're bringing it back again, with the exception of really one major piece in the defensive lineup, which I'm all for based on what you guys just said, talking about this is Cohen's second season. So you would think they're all going to be better in year two, which is why I'm floored by the fact that they're only 8.5, 9.5 on the win totals. The three teams they're going to be playing, the outliers, since they had a first place schedule, they'll be playing the first place team from the NFC North. So they're at Chicago. The first place team from the AFC West, so they're at Denver, and the first place team from the AFC East when they host the Patriots. Yeah. So,
well, let's just analyze those three. The Patriots they went a long way last year playing the softest schedule in the league, and they showed up in the Super Bowl. They got very fortunate. Bad call.
The Jaguars are the AFC version of Chicago last year, a team that showed great improvement under a first-year coach who returns this year.
I happen to think the Jaguars are very dangerous. I like Cohen. Believe me, as much as I really like the defense of Houston, it's hard for me to stand up and say anyone else is going to win this division. But if it's going to be somebody, it's going to be the Jags.
Yeah, you would think
they won last year.
Yeah. And you take a look at their schedule. They better have no problem with Cleveland, because right after that, look at this: Denver, Patriots, Bengals on the road, Eagles, and Houston, all in a row. So that is a really tough schedule. Then they get the bye, and then things get a little bit better because you do have, Tennessee coming out of the bye in 2 of their next 5. You got the Giants in there. But overall, this is the only reason that I think that they're giving you such a low number on the win total, is because it's a tough schedule. But again,
I can't see them having such a low number.
No.
I don't see that.
Again, take a look at Houston, which plays a second place schedule. So they play the Buffalo Bills, that are normally the number 1 team in the East. They play the Ravens, who had been the number 1 team in the North, and then they played.
That's AFC. That's the AFC North schedule.
Oh, okay.
They all play the AFC.
They all play the 14. Okay. I forget who the other one was. The only one they play the Chargers, I guess, who were the number 2 team in the AFC West as opposed to Denver. And so it would be the differential opponents would be the Chargers and the Bills.
Well, none of that sounds easy. They're difficult games.
No, but that's what Houston faces as opposed to Jacksonville. Jacksonville plays New England. Houston plays Buffalo. Okay, and it has success against Buffalo, but that's a different story. And as far as the West goes, Houston plays the Chargers, and Jacksonville plays Denver.
And again,
that's probably equal.
No, I'd much rather play Denver.
Yeah, but again, as we've said all along, if you're a good team, you're going to win games. That's it. I mean, it's just the way that it is.
What we're doing, though, we're comparing two good teams, Jacksonville and Houston, and wondering
why.
And we like them both.
Yeah, and why is the? I think Andy's point is right. Why is one total so low and the other one's?
I think it's only one game each.
Yeah.
So they're giving Houston an extra game. So Houston is 9.5, 10.5, and Jacksonville is 8.5, 9.5.
Right.
And yet we like both of them.
And meanwhile, Houston was 12-5 last year, and they're at 9.5, and Jacksonville was 13-4 last year.
And they're 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to play both those teams over.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No question.
Okay, so now let's see. We're going to move on over to just taking a look here. Okay, now we got the Tennessee Titans. And unlike the division we just talked about last week with the three top teams and how much we like them, and talked about how Arizona was the lone bad spot of the division and maybe the worst team in the NFL.
Right.
Tennessee is not that team.
No.
Tennessee.
What's their season wins?
Tennessee's season wins are 6.5 minus 110.
Yeah, 6.5 seems to be a solid number considering the VIG attached to the others.
Yeah, and this is one where
in fact it's 6.5 minus 110 each way. You can't be more even than that.
No.
Yeah, this is one where if I was going, I wouldn't touch this one, but if I was, I'd actually probably take under. Not that I think that they're going to be I think they're going to be a lot better with the three teams ahead of them. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough for Tennessee to win 7 games.
Well,
I agree.
You've got three teams in that division besides them that are so. You got a 12 and 13. They look good.
You got a 12 and 13 win team from last year, and an Indianapolis team that if Jones doesn't get hurt, probably is at least a 10-win team themselves.
Yeah, Tennessee's in a tough fight there with those three teams, and that's 6 games. That's 6 of their games.
There are 3 outlier teams. They're going to be hosting the Jets, and then they're going to be on the road against Las Vegas and Detroit. So they do get stuck at Detroit, unfortunately.
Yeah,
just to give you an idea,
probably good, but the Jets in Las Vegas are not going to make anybody.
Just to give you an idea, in 2020, and this is with Vrabel, they won 12 games in 2021. That dropped to 7 wins in 2022, 6 wins in 2023, and then 3 wins each of the last 2 years. So they have really been a horrible team. 3 and 6 the year before, and now the over/under says if you're going to go over, they have to win at least 7 games. That may be asking a lot. Now they do have a 4th place schedule, which is what New England had last year, but New England's season total was 8.5, not 6.5. And they had a good coach.
I think Ward has a good upside, but I think
agree.
That's too many. 6.5 sounds too high.
Yeah, when you look at the schedule, there's only really the Jets. You've got the Jets, the Giants, and you've got Cleveland,
Arizona,
and Las Vegas.
And Vegas, yeah.
That's just so it's only four games that they're going to be okay. We can beat these teams, but even in that case, you go okay. They go 2-2. Maybe
but even that, by the way, keep in mind when a team like the Cardinals and the Titans face, the Titans think it's a game, one of the few games they can win. And Arizona, I'm just using it as an example. Okay, let's use they play the Jets.
Yeah, they're playing the Jets, Vegas, Giants, and who's the other team we mentioned? Oh, Cleveland.
Okay, so let's say they're playing Cleveland. Tennessee's playing Cleveland. Tennessee is thinking that Cleveland's one of the teams that they can beat for one of their few wins. And at the same time, Cleveland is thinking Tennessee is one of the few teams they can beat for one of their few wins. So even though
is why I said they'd probably go 2-2.
Exactly. Exactly. Because everybody is looking at those games. Realistically, Robert Saleh's taking over a team that has a promising quarterback, but has not had a lot of success the last 4 years. So he's probably looking at it as, hey, this is a year for development, for growth. And we can't have overly high expectations for wins and losses, but let's win the games we should be able to win, because we're going to be playing teams in a similar position as we are.
Who's the offensive coordinator there?
Robert Saleh,
Brian Dable.
The one thing he did
Dable's
his lesson.
Yeah.
Dable is the offensive coordinator?
Yes.
Had success with Josh Allen in Buffalo, even though he had that 1 year of success with the Giants as head coach.
I mean, he has, from a standpoint of an offensive coordinator, I'd rather him calling the plays than Saleh.
Absolutely.
No question.
And Gus Bradley's the defensive coordinator. And you were saying something, Greg?
Well, Saleh learned his lesson when he really put the whole team, the franchise, behind the 8 ball by hiring his best friend's little brother to run the offense. And it was a disaster. Mike LaFleur, who just happens to be the head coach at Arizona right now, because Arizona, as we talked about last week, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So he gets to hire.
Who's the last decent coach of Arizona that you can recall, other than Bruce Arians? You got to go back a long way for the Arizona Cardinals to have a decent head coach, as far as I can recall.
Bidwell? Is he coaching Arizona?
Yeah, the owner.
He was with Arizona.
They have an impressive.
He's the owner of Arizona. Yeah.
When you look at the
I was talking about the other one, the guy who coached.
At their resume, they have a pretty good, talented, deep resume on their coaching staff.
Oh yeah.
Who's the guy that coached Alabama and then coached in the NFL?
Saban?
No, I was thinking about not the name Bidwell, but it sounded familiar. Maybe I'll get it. Anyway, so he does have a much better experienced group of assistant coaches, which is why I think
that's very impressive.
Yeah. So they're in a much better position. And Borgonzi, their general manager, this is his second season, and he had a really good offseason. He had a really good draft. They added a player who they believe is their number 1 wide receiver now, and the 4th pick of the draft. They gave a lot of money to Robinson, which is going to be a big help to a young quarterback like Cam Ward, someone that'll work the slot. They're high on their 4th round pick from last year, a tight end. He'll have a better year. And the one thing I'm a little bit concerned with, though, is the offensive line. Because these two guys here, I think the only reason this guy here is going to start is because he was with Daboll and the Giants. But he does not have a lot of experience starting in the NFL. And he's like already in his 30s, I think.
Who are we talking about now?
The center, Schlottman.
Oh, okay. Schlottman, yeah.
How good is the left tackle?
The left tackle is just average. That's it. He's not a good player. He's not a bad player. So the tackles are okay, and the left guard is okay. But these are the 2 spots, especially this one. This guy was terrible in Cincinnati. Volson. So I don't expect him to start this year. Week 1, maybe, but I don't know. But they did draft 2 guys this year who are good draft picks, and they drafted 1 last year. So I think that's that maybe those kids will grow up and be able to fill that spot. Defensively, this is Robert Saleh's bread and butter. And of course, Gus Bradley is a good coordinator. So, they made the move to bring in Franklin Myers and Jermaine Johnson, who both were with Saleh when he coached the Jets.
Yep.
And Jeffrey Simmons is still one of the best defensive tackles in the game. And they spent their late 1st round draft pick on another edge rusher. So they have talent up here on the defensive line, and they have talent at linebacker. Cedric Gray is a good linebacker. Anthony Hill was an excellent pickup in the 2nd round. So it's the front 6 looks really strong for Tennessee. It looks good. Doesn't look like a non-playoff team. It's the secondary that is a little bit questionable. That's where, they don't, there's no star on the team. There's a couple of young guys that are okay, but that's where I'd be a little bit concerned would be that secondary. But you can't fix everything in one offseason. So in general, though, I think they did a good job filling a lot of holes. And now it's year 2 for Cam Ward.
What's interesting is you look at their schedule last year, I think it's 11 or 12 games that they scored 22 points or less. I think in one of those, they, a couple of 20s. But look what they did at the end of the season. 31 against Cleveland, 24 at San Francisco. That was a loss. 26 against Kansas City, 28 against New Orleans, and then losing 41-7 in Jacksonville at the end of the season. But what that sort of sells me, even though they were playing teams that, San Francisco was a team in contention, the others were not, but that sort of indicates that maybe we did see the emergence of Cam Ward late in the season, which is what you would want to see out of such a young quarterback. And it looks as though they were able to do that.
Well, one of our followers here is asking a question. You thinking of Brian Daboll?
Yeah, we already talked about that too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I think Daboll has some talent. I got to give him a shot here.
Yeah.
The question is, guys, what do you guys think of Cam Ward? I kind of like him.
I like him.
I think his potential is there if he has the right protection and the right leadership.
Where was he drafted? Was he number 1 in that draft class? Yeah. So obviously he had an outstanding college career. Okay. And, what was it? He was a rookie last year, right? That was a rookie year?
Yeah.
Last year.
Now, if he would have been, now look, and normally if it would have been like a really good quarterback class, he probably would have been 3rd, something like that. Okay. But, it is what it is. He's still a good quarterback. I'm not knocking him, but he's not looked at like, say, Mendoza. No. Like Mendoza still would have been drafted ahead of him.
Yeah. The thing is also keep in mind that quarterbacks are not always drafted number 1, depending upon the depth of the quarterback class and the availability of, let's say, a generational type player who isn't the quarterback. So he was still highly thought of.
Yeah, he should have a really good second season under Daboll, and again, I think that the thing though that I'd be a little bit concerned with is just that offensive line. They better not have any injuries with some of their good offensive linemen because they only have a few of them, and there's not a whole lot of quality depth, which is normal for a rebuilding team.
Did they go with a 13 scheme also? The tight ends?
No, they're not in that position. It looks like they don't really have that type of depth there. So that's why we look at the wide receiver room. Right. I think they're going to go more 3 receivers. And a matter of fact, even the 2 rookies from last year, including a Umanor, had a nice rookie season, all things considered. So they have some talent. Calvin Ridley is still, he's getting a little older. But, he was a number 1 receiver not too long ago. So they've got talent. They got 3 receivers they'll be able to play with on a more than regular basis. And
let's keep in mind that if you look again at the stats for Cam Ward, 540 attempts, that's about 30 a game. 323 completions, that's about 60%. 3,000 yards. And a TD interception ratio of 15-7. That's not great. I mean, 15 touchdowns is little, but usually you don't expect the rookie who plays full time to only have 7 interceptions.
Yeah, they've got their quarterback.
It seems like they got a good base there with him.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they definitely have their franchise quarterback, and they're going to be fine. Again, Borgonzi had a really good offseason. He came from the Chiefs. He was in the Chiefs organization for a very long time. And it was really nice to see, if you're a Tennessee fan, that they had a good offseason like this. So, yeah, they're on their way, but it's going to take at least another year of adding some more talent before they can compete with the big boys.
Tony Pollard had a nice year. 242 rushes, 4.5 yards per attempt. That'll get it done.
All right, so let's go through the picks here now. And let's start with what are you going to go 1 through 4 in the division? Let's start there.
Okay. I've got, in fact, I'll do with the season win totals. I've got
first, second, third, and fourth. Who do you think is going to finish first, second, third, or fourth?
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to give them at the same time because I've got opinions on all four of them for the over. But if you want,
give
okay.
the 1 through 4 first.
Jacksonville, Houston, Indianapolis, Tennessee.
Houston,
What's the over and
Indianapolis.
under win total on Tennessee?
It's
Six and
right
a half.
there.
Six and a half.
Okay.
Jim, 1 through 4.
Did Andy say Jacksonville, Houston,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then Indianapolis?
Indy, Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ditto.
Oh, okay. I thought you might go Houston.
No, I can't do that with the question. I think there's a much bigger upside with Lawrence than there is with Stroud. Stroud has to prove to me that he can do something with they improved their offensive line, yes, and they're going to have a better running game, yes. Wide receivers have to stay healthy. He has to prove to me he can be more like he was the first year out of college than he was last year.
Who would you consider the better runner, Greg, between Stroud and Lawrence?
Runner?
Yeah.
I mean, neither one of them, but
I was going to say maybe a toss-up.
Yeah, Lawrence, but yeah. I mean, I have seen him run the ball a little bit more when he needs to. Yeah, Stroud's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so and I'm going to go with Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and Tennessee. So let's, Andy, start off with. We'll start off with Houston. What are you going to do with the money line? Anything?
The money line?
The win.
The win total. I'd like to find a case for 7. To go over. I do like the development that Cam Ward showed in his rookie season.
Houston.
Oh, I'm sorry. But okay. I'm okay. I was confused now because Tennessee used to be in Houston. Houston, I like over the 9.5.
Okay.
I like Jacksonville over the 8.5.
Well, just start with Houston. So you want over, and that's it. Just over 9.5, 125.
Yeah.
Jim.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yes.
All
right, and I'm going to do 2 of them. I'm going to do the over 9.5 and the over.
Oh, I thought you were just going to. Oh, okay. You're going to do 2 plays on
whatever you want to do.
Houston. Yeah. No, okay. I didn't understand when you said 2 of them. I thought you meant 2 teams. You're going to do 2 plays on Houston, both overs.
Oh, me? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Over the 9.5 and over the 10.5.
Correct.
What's the 10.5 pay?
135. 136.
35. Okay. I agree with that.
Yeah. As I do.
You're going to do 2 of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
9.5 and 10.5.
Yes.
Okay. 10.5 plus 136. Okay. So we all got 2 for Houston. Now let's go to Indianapolis. Let's stay in this order. Okay. So Indianapolis, again, we're going to go with either of these 2 or whatever you want. Andy, you want any of these?
Let me see. I will go the under 7.5 plus 15.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know about that.
Under 7.5 plus 115. Does that mean, do you believe Daniel Jones will get hurt?
I just have concerns about the defense, how they're going to work without Pittman in there. They got to find the replacement that works. And we don't know how well Daniels will return after the injury. Okay. How long will it be till he is in the game shape that he was in last year at the start of the season?
They also don't have a backup quarterback.
That's a concern.
Yeah.
What's the 6.5 on this one? What does that pay?
6.5. Under or over? Both?
I'm going to take a flyer at 194 plus 194 under 6.5.
Under 6.5.
Not that I'm in love with it, but the injury to Jones could really crop up here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to touch Indianapolis.
By the way, he's had injury. He had injury issues when he was with the Giants.
Yes.
All right, Jacksonville. Andy?
Well, that's easy.
Oh, what did you do with Indianapolis, Greg?
Nothing.
Oh, passing. Okay.
Is this numbers in front of us?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going over the 9.5 and the 10.5.
Oh.
Where's the hell? Where's the hell?
I'm sorry. We were 8.5 and 9.5. I'm going over the 8.5 and the 9.5. 8.5 is the competitive number.
Okay, so you're going to go minus 125, 8.5 plus 149.5.
Yeah.
Jim?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me. I'm going to say I'm going to go out on a limb here. Over 8.5, 9.5, and 10.5. I'm going to say they're going to win 11.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to stick with Andy's. I'm going to go 8.5 and 9.5.
I will consider the 10.5, but the 8.5 and the 9.5. If they go over, if they win 9, it's still a profit with the 8.5 and the 9.5 if they fall short.
And Tennessee. Anybody want action on Tennessee?
I would like to play. Let me see what number we're using. 6.5 on that, right?
Sure.
6.5 is that's the true -110 each way. That's the coin flip one, which is usually the one that I like to use because that means that the odds makers are basically saying, it's almost similar to playing either team since they're so closely priced with basically no spread between the two. I'd like to find a reason to play over the 6.5, but where are those 7 wins going to come from? Again, well, they don't play Detroit, but Detroit is like a third or fourth place team last year. But I'm going to go under the 6.5 because I think it's going to be so difficult in the first year. We will see improvement, but given what I explained about Tennessee, back-to-back years of 3-3 that followed a year of 6 wins, and then that followed a year of 7 wins, which followed a year of 12 wins. So the team has steadily declined. I think it's asking a lot for this team to basically exceed the total number of wins, the 3+3 that they had in the last 2 years. So I'm going to go under the 6.5.
Jim?
At -10.
Well, if I'm going to pick on the Colts a little bit here. The Colts have Daniel Jones, Richardson's second, which you say might be traded. Then
Riley Leonard is third.
Riley Leonard,
who has the experience from last year.
When you look at Tennessee, now Ward doesn't show any tendency to be hurt, but he could. I mean, it's possible. But their coaching staff is, they're not, Andy Reid, but they're quality coaches.
Great staff.
They're a solid staff, and that's important. They'd have good defensive head coach, defensive coordinator. Daboll is, okay. We go back to the days of Josh Allen.
Yep.
And then of course we had last year. He didn't. I mean, it wasn't terrible. He was developing the kid. If Jones gets hurt, I don't like their backup situation. Where if Ward got hurt, and anybody can get hurt, their backup situation, the quarterback, is quite a bit of experience.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, and behind him, you got Levis. I mean, none of these guys are great players, but they're all experienced players. So I'm going to say over 6.5.
Okay.
Well, that would make sense considering you went under 6.5 with the Colts.
Yeah.
Right.
So -110, and I will also do the under 6.5 -110.
Which is interesting, Jim, because you have Indianapolis finishing third under 6.5 and went with Tennessee finishing fourth over 6.5. So maybe you want to switch the 1, 2, 3, 4, or is the over/under in win total unrelated because of the speculations to achieve the various win totals?
I didn't think of that, Andy. Excellent point. I guess I should.
In other words, if you knew that Daniel Jones was going to be the quarterback for the Colts and that they had a reasonable backup beyond Richardson like a Riley Leonard, maybe, you would definitely say 6.5 is too low, and you might go over the 6.5 for both of them based upon the availability of Daniel Jones for the season.
So you're going to go. You're going to switch now. Tennessee third, Indianapolis fourth. Jim.
Yeah, I think Andy's right. Andy's correct. I'm speculating that, coming back from an Achilles with previous injury issues and really no solid backup quarterback, I'm going to put him fourth. Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you prefer, by the way, either of you or both of you, Will Levis or Mitchell Trubisky?
Pardon me?
Which backup quarterback for Cam Ward do you prefer, Mitchell Trubisky or Will Levis?
I think I'd go with Trubisky.
More experience.
Yes.
Yeah,
he wasn't terrible. He just wasn't what everyone hoped
I
hoped he would be at the time that he was drafted.
I think Levis has a future. Yeah. I think he has to get his ego put in place, but I think he shows me enough talent. If he gets the right coach, right discipline, I think Levis can develop. But I don't. Yeah. Right now, Trubisky has more talent, more experience.
Does anybody want an AFC South winner?
Let's see what the odds are. I got to run out right now. If Jacksonville's plus 245.
Oh, without a doubt.
Not that I don't think Houston is a bad choice. I just think the spread between these two teams, and again, Jacksonville is not playing what we would have expected to be a typical number one schedule because of those division winners from last year, and Houston is not playing a typical number two schedule because they're playing those division winners from 2 years ago that didn't win last year. So I think, I could understand Houston being favored in the division because of the experience that they had won 2 in a row or 3 in a row before last year, but I just can't see that big of a spread. It's kind of like the thing I said with San Antonio and the Knicks.
So you're 100% right. There should not be this kind of spread. Jacksonville for sure. I'd have to take it that number.
Yeah.
Okay. 245 to win the division. And does anybody want the Super Bowl odds? And again, Jacksonville is getting a lot of disrespect here. Houston's 18-1. Jacksonville is 30-1 to win the division. So does anybody want to take Jacksonville at 30-1 or Houston at 18-1?
Well, this is Super Bowl?
Yes.
How about we just go to the conference championship?
You can do whatever you want. 15, you know how it all
is. These teams aren't winning the Super Bowl.
No. What we said last year about Seattle.
If I'm going to go back to this, what I said before. I should correct myself here. Houston's defense, if it's the same and you get some quality quarterbacking, that defense you're not going to beat. They will beat the Rams. They will beat Seattle. But you have to get that quarterback to develop.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a very tricky.
If you have Houston's defense and an average offense, Houston can beat anybody in the league. The problem is Houston's offense the last few years has been below average.
So do you guys want?
Stroud had one good year, and that was coming out of college.
Yeah.
And it was an outlier. And he's nothing more than average. So
do you want the AFC? You want an AFC championship pick here?
Yes, I want to see the AFC.
Well, it's half. You know how it is. It's 15 and 14 and 8.
Oh boy.
Okay, 14 and a half and 8. That's a little bit difficult because I think there are teams that are probably lower priced with better realistic chances. I think the Chargers have a chance. I think the Bengals have a chance. I think the Buffalo Bills have a chance. And I think their likelihood is probably all three of them are probably single digits to win. Gentlemen, I have to run out and see y'all next week.
Okay.
Take care, buddy.
So, and again, keep in mind, we're obviously going to have our final predictions in a couple of months, so you don't have to take it right now if you don't want it.
No, I'm not going to take anything here.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take Jacksonville at 30-1. So, and that will wrap it up. So next week, we're back to the NFC, and we have 2 divisions left to choose from. The East and the North. So which one would you like, Sir Jim Feist?
Well, the NFC East is always interesting. You got Dallas and Jerry Jones and Philadelphia and the terrible fans there that criticize everything. So let's go to the East, NFC East.
NFC East. That's next week. And
Now, I have to say this, that we're not going to do the Tuesday show for a while.
oh, okay.
Because I'm going to be out of pocket with this medical stuff.
Okay.
So for probably 3 weeks or so. But now next Friday and every Friday, I'm going to be, let's just put me in the category of questionable. Next Friday morning, I have 4 tests starting at 8:00 in the morning.
Are they tests that take out of you mentally, physically, or are they just tests?
Well, they're
Without
all
drugs.
I don't have to do anything except lay there and have machines
Okay.
look at me. But so it's
Well, we
dieting.
can change the time.
Well, I
if
don't
it
I
helps.
don't know how I'm going to come out of this. So let me just say that I'm probable, but between questionable and probable.
Okay.
Well,
We'll know by so what will you know by?
10:00 Friday morning.
You mean 1:00?
You're 1:00, yeah.
No,
but
you're 1:00.
I would say I'm more probable than questionable, but I'm just telling you up front.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it then goes and that's only for next week.
Well, it's going to be every Friday till I get back on the 17th.
Okay. Oh, you mean you're going to go away for 3 weeks?
I have to go over to California to Cedars-Sinai and then
and stay there?
I'll be for a while. Yeah, a little bit.
Where do you stay? Anywhere in particular?
Cedars-Sinai.
Oh, you stay there?
No, I'll be there, near there.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere.
So you got a place, and then you just got to go to
probably Shutters on the beach. Because it's close.
That'll compensate.
Well, I don't feel like staying in a hotel for 2 or 3 weeks, but
no,
you got to do what you got to do.
Okay. Well, we'll try to figure it out then. And that is for next week. So no Jim Feist show. Matter of fact, by the time you come back for the Jim Feist show, which will be sometime in, I guess, mid-July, maybe.
But
that'll be almost training camp in the NFL.
Yeah, probably the last week of July. DBK, thank you very much for the good wishes. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Appreciate the questions, the comments. Also appreciate everybody tuning in here. Don't forget to subscribe to both the Our Football Network and ProLine TV. I will be back tomorrow on ProLine TV for our NASCAR coverage tomorrow night for the inaugural NASCAR San Diego street race.
Wow.
They're going to be racing in San Diego down by I think they're racing down by the shipyard in San Diego. So it should be
by the way, did you do a golf show this week for the Open?
Yes.
And who did that?
Oh, it was just me.
Oh, yeah. Who did you pick?
I picked Fitzpatrick was my top pick.
He's close, I think.
Yeah. And I picked Fleetwood and
he's in the running.
Who else did I pick? I think I picked Rose in there and maybe Patrick Reed, possibly. I'm not sure.
If he could make a putt, he would be there because he hit the ball really well. It's funny, and we don't talk about this too much, but like if you play in the morning and it's really windy and your scores balloon because of it, and then in the afternoon there's no wind and you catch everything at the right, like that's what happened to Wyndham Clark yesterday.
Yeah.
Or the other day, and he just went off and got 6 under and took the lead. It's really funny. We don't think about that in our, if you're going to really handicap it.
Oh, sure.
There's going to be wind in the morning and it won't be any wind in the afternoon.
You got to talk about it. Yeah.
As long as you know where they're playing, you say, well, the guy in the afternoon is going to have a big advantage. So,
yeah. But the weather this past week, for the first 3 days, they actually thought that the wind was going to be more prevalent in the afternoon. And then when the day came, it was more in the morning.
Right.
So it completely switched. So
yeah, that's really a crapshoot.
Yeah, but you definitely have to make sure every Wednesday night, if you're wagering on golf, before you go to bed, you better check the weather forecast for every golf event, because you never know if you're going to have that issue.
Anything to make it tougher on us,
Yeah, of course. So that'll wrap it up. We'll talk more football once again next week on the Our Lads Football Network, as far as our scheduled guests in the college ranks. Right now, I have scheduled 6 interviews next week for college football: Clemson, West Virginia, Memphis, Georgia Tech, North Carolina State, and Iowa State. So those are all interviews scheduled for next week.
Wow.
And then in the NFL, we'll be talking with Baltimore and Arizona analysts in the NFL. So that's on the Our Lads Football Network. Jim,
great stuff. Okay.
Appreciate it. Good luck with your tests.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everybody. Take care.
Yes, good luck, everybody.